After selling $250,000 in book sales with Amazon book ads, in this video, I'm going to share with you why you may not be hitting that break even when we talk about the advertising cost of sell. In this video, I'm going to show you how I figured this out really early in my journey, and that actually allowed me to sell multiple six figures using this process. My name is Jenny Hanson-Lane, and I've been publishing for 3.5 years on Amazon. I have published 612 books, and in this video, we're going to kind of break it down and talk about the strategy of scaling, because the most important part about scaling is having the margins to do it. I recently filmed a video for my students called Profit Margin Math, and I want to break some of that down with you today because it's really important for you to understand. So when you turn on ads, you're not actually losing money, you can make money. Let's dive in. Okay, so as we start talking about that profit margin math, like the really important thing to remember is the person that can spend the most money to acquire a customer will always win. This is just a foundational principle of marketing. It comes from one of the most prestigious marketers in the 80s, 90s. His name is Dan Kennedy. He is still alive. He doesn't even use the internet or email. If you need to get a hold of him, you send him a fax, okay? So he has developed and trained incredible marketers that repeat this information, that the person that can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins. So when I joined Amazon KDP, when I set up my account in December of 2020, I had that information. So I'm giving it to you so you can actually save steps in your book creation process. Last June, Amazon actually changed the royalty structure and said any book that is under $9.99, you get 50% royalties instead of 60. Now, because I knew in 2021 that the person that can spend the most to acquire customer wins, I knew that I had to price my book for profit. I knew that was something that I had to do. And so that was the reframe and the mindset that I took to my Amazon KDP book creation process. It also was foundational in the niches that I actually pick, okay? I want to solve problems with my books because the bigger problem you can solve with your book, the more money you can charge. Now, if you're just getting started and that really overwhelms you, I want you to know you're still in the right place because we have to start somewhere. My first book was a lined notebook. My son, he's 9. When he was 6, he did a notebook, a dinosaur notebook. And guess what? This week it just sold. It just sold 3 years later. His royalty is $1.09. I actually should show you in my KDP reports. And I showed him, and he was like, how do we do more of that? I'm like, yes, son. They also have a coloring book line, my kids. Okay, so I'm going to show you the process that I take that prepares me to even turn on an ad, because it starts way, 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 way before you actually sell anything. It starts in the preparation, okay? I'm going to show you something I use every single time that I'm focusing on a book. We're going to dive over to BookBeam. And BookBeam is a software created by a self-publisher for self-publishers. And there is a reason that BookBeam has this free resource, because the company knows that to acquire the most customers, you have to be willing to have that inside of your margins, okay? So whenever I am researching a niche, I have this window open. This is a free resource. I do have a coupon code for BookBeam if you want to use the paid services, but this is a free resource. When I'm looking at niches, I'm also looking at the price of royalties. You know those videos like, oh, I've even done some of them per your request. Hot niche, this makes $14,000 a month. I always want to know, like, what's the actual royalty of that book? Because then that helps me project the sales and how much I need to spend to get the sell, okay? A lot of people don't really do this. And part of this came too, you guys, when I was running Facebook ads for the first time in 2019, I made $30,000 in 45 days, and I couldn't continue to scale for multiple reasons. And I'm going to share those reasons because it's going to make sense when it comes to Amazon book ads. Number one is I had never had that type of money before, and I didn't understand to put the money back in exactly the way it came out. I just saved some and then bought groceries because that's how much we needed that money. So I couldn't scale that up past that 30 grand. The second part is once those people bought from me and were on my email list, I didn't have a way to get them to buy more. I didn't have additional products. Okay. So those two things, I eventually had to turn off my ads. I couldn't keep scaling. The third part is the iOS update with Apple brought the cost of acquiring a customer on Facebook way up. And then the fourth thing out of my control, I'm sharing these two things out of my control. The fourth thing is COVID happened. And so everybody got online to figure out how to make money from their business online. And so that also increased the cost to get a customer. Now, with Amazon book ads, we don't have to worry about the customer and the privacy because they made an agreement with Amazon when they signed up for a Prime account to get targeted with ads. So it's a free game. That's amazing. The second part is that I knew from 2020 and 2019 that I needed to put my book royalties back into my ads to scale it up, to sell more books that would bring me more profits. Okay, so I had that Facebook trauma, Facebook ads, the meta trauma that I'm never going to do that again. Okay, I've also made book ad mistakes since then. And the second part of this is when you have margins on a product, that allows you breathing room to do more. So that information in 2019 carried over into book royalties when I saw people publishing hundreds of books and their royalty was $1. There's nothing wrong with that unless you want to scale and make more books and money. Okay. So the process that from understanding, okay, now that they're on my list, I don't have anything else to sell them. How does that translate to Amazon KDP? And the secret sauce that I'm going to tell you now is that I always publish a pen name with more than one book. So that means that the customer can see what else is available and buy them more than one thing. Now, when you're focused on low content, this is beautiful because you can offer a lot of the same products that are very similar. And some low content books are even bought in bulk. Okay. And that is the beautiful part about running ads. When someone's looking for that, they can buy 35 at one time. I have a book and it has a $6 royalty and it gets bought 2 or 3 at a time. So in one customer, I'm making that $18. And I started here. Okay. So I started with looking at what is in demand on Amazon and what pricing can I get. So let's talk a little bit about this because you need to know this number before you turn on ads. Otherwise, it will be really difficult to break even, which is what this video is about. There are a lot of self-publishers that will spend $500 and make $488 back. And we don't want that. So if you're in that position, the first thing I would tell you to do is celebrate that your book sold, because that's a big deal. Actually be I have books that make money. That's a big freaking deal. And the reason why it's a big deal is because there's so many books that are published that never see the light of day. They never get the cha-ching, and you've gotten the cha-ching. So the second part of this is if you have a book that's made you money, I want you to pause this video. I want you to go into your KDP bookshelf and I want you to go raise the price, a quarter, 50 cents, $1. Okay. If Amazon thinks it's too expensive, they'll put your book on sale. They do it to my books all the time. So I would rather be priced at the highest point and Amazon puts it on sale than me not getting royalties that actually change my life, okay? So when I am ideating and I find a book, I come here and I put in the data like, okay, this book is, it's black ink, it's 8.5 by 11, and this one is 119 pages. And I need to price it above $9.99 every single time. Okay, so you can see here that my royalty is $3. That means I have the budget to acquire the customer for $3. To me, that is not enough. If I can get my book up higher, that gives me more royalties. So I'm constantly looking at a feature that BookBeam gives us when Amazon puts our book on sale. So I'm looking at other books that are selling really well that Amazon has put on sale. A lot of times it's not the self-publisher that lowers the price. It is Amazon, okay? And so in here I know, okay, this is a 32% ACoS for this book. I feel comfortable about that because I've published similar books in this niche. Let's go ahead and make that book, okay? Now, there are some like mental health journals even that you can do for $14.99. When you do this, it's really important that the quality is very strong. So when people say, I can't price my book at that price, well, why not? We need to get to the core problem there, okay? So if you're watching this video and you're struggling to break even, I want to encourage you, I want to congratulate you for getting a book sale in general, but then I want to ask you, have you raised the price of your book? The second thing that you can do to bring up, well, there's a couple things, but the second thing that I'm going to talk about is adding more books to that pen name. So the customer has more options when they're shopping. If they bought a book from you and you're scaling with ads, you want to be releasing books under that pen name at least once a month because Amazon will email the customer for you. And as you're scaling, that can really help to bring in more sales because the customer got an email about your book. Okay, so that's a really important part. So 1, raise the price. Okay, the second thing to do is to add books to that pen name that are very similar and will complement the best-selling book you have. The third thing to get over break even and actually get a profit is going into your ads account and looking at the targets where it's overspending and it's too many clicks. If you get 20 clicks and no sell, I typically take those keywords and I do a negative target, okay? Let me know where you're at in your journey with running ads. Like, what is the struggle for you so I can help you after selling $250,000 in book sales and running my own ads account? I would love to help you get over that hump. I also have a free training coming up where I talk about how I scaled to 6 figures. We talk about the 3 biggest things that helped me do that. I'll put a link below for you to join. And drop any questions or ideas for new videos that can help you on your journey with scaling. I always love hearing where you're at in your journey and how I can help you better. Just remember, if you don't quit, you can't lose. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.